welcome to the show for you at $1.25. This is what the show cost, $1.25. Huh? That's what I'm saying, huh? Please, be a patron of the show. Welcome to No Enemies here. Let's have a good weekend, huh? And you see I'm all snazzy? I'm all snazzy because I just came back from my job. My job of 14 hours a week. Hey, look. It's a good job. It's easing me in slowly with the kids, because let me tell you, man, you know, these kids, Madonna mia, as we say. Anyways, I hope you've watched the Ben Hull interview I did. Some good insights on Fields of Fire. And this is part 1 of part 2 interviews. I'm going to have Ben again on. Man, what a nice guy. A wealth of information. Fields of Fire, man, he made it easy peasy. I'm telling you, easy peasy. Check out Worthington Publishing. They have Band of Brothers. It's gotta be the Pacific one. I keep forgetting, man. With this new job, I even missed my shift of 15 minutes. You know, because I took a 20-minute power nap in the car after smoking a pipe. What can I tell you? Sometimes I have a 2-hour break. I don't do anything. It's school. That's what they say. An incident happened, but I can't really say it here. So anyways, I mean, it's funny. But whatever it is what it is, right? So, I think fall is beginning here, right? And, yeah. Look. That's the news. I'm going to be interviewing Carl Kretter and Tim, I don't know his last name, of the War Game Boot Camp. Huh? And that's cool. Look at these scars, man. We played nitrogen ball, where it's like paintball, but you take the paintballs and you put them in nitrogen. And so, you know, I mix it a little bit more realistic. So when you get blasted, because the nitrogen is so cold, it sticks on your skin, so yeah, you get the real, like, ah, you know what I mean? It's the closest thing I can get to being afraid of being in war type thing, but even then, I'm sure it ain't the same thing. But it's called nitrogen balls. So you take your paintballs, put them in nitrogen. They go, what, minus 300 degrees Celsius? So, have a good show, and I'll see you later. Wars of the World features the Battle of Lissa and ship ramming in naval battles. And back to the table are checking out small travel games. Hey, you travel? Well, he's showing us small travel games. I don't know what he's trying to do with his daughter there. It looks like he's trying to pick her nose. Anyways. And on Kings and Generals, the Battle of Cagayan, Conquistadors versus Samurai. Really? I don't think so. Ancient Celts, Anglo-Saxon invasion of Britain. That I know happened. Also the rise of Oda Nobunaga. Nobunaga, for God's sake. And the Battle of Okehazama. Right. 1560 to 1573. And Hattusa. 3D tour of the Hitty capital of the Bronze Age. And Artie of ARDWULF'S Lair is unboxing Europe Divided. This is a game by David Thompson, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if he's co-designer here, but I forget the other designer. But it is a game published by Phalanx Games. Also, in his counter-clipping episode, Underrated Publishers. And he's giving something away because it's written giveaway. Plus, we were together on my channel this time, my house I should say, with everything you wanted to know about war games but were afraid to ask. So let me ask the stupid questions. You look smart, I look stupid, I don't care. And it was a special edition where I basically I ambushed Artie into an interview. The Board Game Chronicles are introducing Paths of Glory. You want to learn how to play Paths of Glory? Well, here you go. What, you can't read a rule book? You don't have to. You look at a video from the Board Game Chronicles. And 6 actual with board games reviews, quick looks, and intel briefs. Get your Tommy gun out with Gangbusters. This is an RPG, an SPI specific theater of operations. This is a drone's eye view. And Flat Top, World War II carrier battles, which I think I let you know of last week. But it doesn't matter. Go on his channel and subscribe. The Lights, The Voice, Seek Out and Play does expansion number 47 from Warfighter World War II, The Battle of Mokra. Ha! I bet you thought it was STUKAJOE. No, it's Stuka. GIMPY of the GIMPY Gamer is doing Combat, a game by Compass Games Part 4. Also, Gimpy's Gal guesses the war. The Pacific War from Compass Games, obviously. And some point-blank boot camps. Companies of Heroes also. Check out GIMPY. Jason Cruz of Hexes and Soldiers. The Philosopher of War Games. The Stormy Story. He's in the dark because I think Hurricane Ida blasted through his town, which is called New Orleans. Thank God you're okay, Jason. Now, cut your hair. Get a job. And my favorite Frenchman that lives in England, Fred Serval of Homo Ludens, is interviewing the Professor Riccardo Mazzini and the all-knowing ARDWULF of ARDWULF'S Lair and my favorite Quebecois, CARROLL Paradis, who I've been trying to get an interview with, but unsuccessful. But Fred, does he even know Fred? Fred gets him on. And a man called Walter, and they're discussing When Titans Clashed, David Glantz and Jonathan House, Book Club number 2. They discuss what they've read in a certain book. Personally, I don't read, so I wish they had that book on audiobook. John Krantz and Compass Games are live with Compass Games Town Hall, episode 28. I get my history news from History Hustle, Slovenia during World War II, 1941 to 1945, and the Republic of German Austria, 1918 to 1919, obviously, 1 year. Yeah, that's what it is. Hey, the guy knows his stuff. ID Jester was unboxing Versailles, 1919, a game by Mark Herman and Jeff Engelstein. Also, Lords of Fate, let's look at Vorhard. I don't know what that means, but he's crazy himself. He's got a lot of videos here, and the word slew comes to mind. Also, I checked out the War Room on Labor Day weekend, and these guys, they crack me up. They're crazy. It's a great time. I suggest you should check it out. And what a treat, ladies and gentlemen, of watching No Enemies here. STUKAJOE is at Consim World, and he's got a slew, SLEWW, a slew of videos out, all concerning Consim World, unboxings, interviews, checking out the flea market, late night table talk. Check it out.
Hello everyone, this is Michel Leviathan Sorbet from the Polish YouTube channel Wojennik TV. As every week, here is my weekly roundup of the content published on Wojennik TV during the last 7 days. Last Sunday I started with a top 3 video in which I explained which games I have most heavily played during the month of August. And not only most heavily played, but also most enjoyed. So on this list I included firstly Panzerstrike France 1944 Pocket, released by 4 Such Games, which is a small-scale game enabling us to recreate tank-to-tank combat in France during World War II. The second game was Stormweavers. This is a Polish project, a very interesting book game in which not only we will be living an adventure, but also we will be fighting combats on dedicated boards. So this is somewhat of a crossover between a game book and a skirmish game. Very interesting approach. Finally, the game that I have most heavily played in August was Dice Miner, a very quick, entertaining dice game which I have taken with me for my vacation, and I played it almost every day with my children. So this is quite a fresh game, quite an entertaining one. Obviously not a war game, but I'm mentioning it because I really enjoyed it. If you're looking for a quick dice game, this might be an interesting choice. On Tuesday, a war game video and a video in English, and this was the review of the second edition of Victory World War II, released by Columbia Games. The first edition of this game was released back in 1998, but a few years ago, Columbia Games released the second edition of this block game. So this is obviously a game about World War II, using blocks, which enable us to use fog of war, a game in which we receive interesting forces enabling us to create our own armies, to build units during a game, and our main objective will be, of course, to score victory points or to overcome our opponent, because this is a 2 players game, but it can also be played in teams of, say, 2 players each. On Wednesday, the Polish unboxing, and this time I presented a very old game, Atlantic Star, released by Queen Games, nearly 20 years ago, because it was released, if I am correct, in 2001. This is a remake of Show Manager, a game which was released even earlier. This is a card game, again, which is a set collection game in which players will compete in order to organize cruises for passengers on 4 different seas or oceans, and our objective will be, as you might expect, to score the maximum possible number of points. Finally, on Friday, the Polish review, and this was the review of Castle Eater by Dan Versen Games. I really enjoyed this game. I played it very heavily a few months ago, and I decided to publish the review. Earlier, I have showed both the unboxing and the Polish playthrough. An English version of this review of this very interesting game will also soon follow. Castle Eater depicts the extremely interesting clash which occurred during the last days of World War II in Austria, Castle Eater, during which German forces, alongside American troops, alongside French prisoners of war, Austrian resistance fighters, and even an SS officer, tried to repulse an SS division attack against the castle. Extremely interesting situation, one of the 2 only cases which I am aware of during which Germans and Americans fought alongside during World War II. So this is obviously a solo game, extremely interesting, extremely enjoyable experience. If you have the opportunity to try this title, you should definitely try it. So those were the 4 videos which I have released on Wojennik TV during the last week. Thank you for watching this brief summary. I invite you to take a look at our other videos if you're interested also in other English videos. We have tons of them on our channel. I wish you a great week and see you next time.
And the gentlemen of the Player's Aid are giving us a sci-fi game monthly debrief episode number 8. This is for August 2021. And review at all costs from HOLLANDSPIELE. And in their boxing Fire in the Sky from Phalanx Games. And the man famously known as Calandale, Enrico Viglino, finishes off Fifth Frontiers, Wars 2, 3, and 4. Victory and beyond! GMT Games looks at and gives us an overview of Ben Hull's game, Won by the Sword. And the minister that is Joel Toppins takes a look at the new C3I-34 inside the box. And I see here Firebase Vietnam. Also, Won by the Sword, a game by Ben Hull. This is the game report and inside the box of NATO from Compass Games. The soft-spoken but formidable foe, Jonathan Townsend, looks at Bruce Shelley's and Joseph Reiser's American Civil War, 1861 to 1865. Counterproductive Games checks out a Kickstarter, Gods of War, Robert E. Lee YouTube gameplay. Also, Empires of Steel Hunting Ground Kickstarter. Broadside, I guess that's the new one. And this is Band of Brothers, The Old Breed, Kickstarter by Worthington Publishing. And also North Cape Naval Miniature World War II Classic board game. Lock and Load Publishing's Point Blank, V is for Victory, and Epic Brigade Fire and Fury update on Counterproductive Games. And Mo of Mo's Game Table checks out The Day Is Ours, the Battle of Princeton. What, the university had a battle? Anyways, Friday Night Fights and NATO After Action Report Strategic Surprise Scenario Turn 3 and previews Battletech from Catalyst Game Labs. And the cop that is Wayne Hansen. On his recon segment, he checks out Hidden Strike American Revolution, a game by Worthington Publishing. And Jan Heinemann of the Let's Play History is engaging in the famous Light Brigade Grand Gettysburg 32-player massive online Kriegspiele. Actually, he asked me to do this, but Jan, I got no time. And he also plays Civilization 6 and continues with the Grand Kriegspiel Gettysburg game with 32 players. Man, I gotta check that out. Lock and Load Publishing takes a look at the solo system for Point Blank, a game designed by Sean Drulinger, of which I interviewed. You want to know about Point Blank? Check out the interview on my channel. And Stigler is learning flat top. He's got 3 videos out this week. Usually he doesn't have that much to say. That was a joke, because whoever knows Stigler, yes, he's verbose. Dad vs. Son continues his next war, Vietnam. He's at the gates of Hanoi. Turns 3, 4, and 5. Stephen Dolges continues with Pax Romana. Scenario 10 turns 5, 6, 7, 8. And a post-mortem. The man who goes by the name of Jeff checks out Trench Club, Solo Turns 1 and 2, and Silent Storm Sentinels Missions 2 and 3. Also an introduction of the same said game. Man, this guy puts a slew of videos out every day! The Wise Guy from Wise Guy Histories, A Time for Trumpets, shellacking playthrough. Check it out. It's everything. Look, I got the game, and I interviewed Bruno Sinigalio. You can check it out on my channel, obviously. The channel that cost you $1.25 a week. Please be. And on the big board, what's happening? Well, socks and runners. Test stream via PH at Rental Digs. You'll figure it out. when you see a young Japanese girl on the TV, you know it's a horror movie from the Horror Geek, one of his favorite Japanese horror movies. Mine? I got a few, but I'll tell you something. Ju-on was pretty good. On Legendary Tactics, do you know your board games? How well do you know your worker placement board games? Also, Ask Not What, card by card. This is a Twilight Struggle strategy, card by card. And Wingspan, I hear it's a good game. It's a board game, and it's an interview with Wingspan's designer, I'm assuming. And another, Usuri River, card by card again. A strategy guide on how to play every card on Twilight Struggle. And Talon, this is a game by Jim Crone, reboxing the base game. Yeah. Does a lot of stuff in Talon. World War II Solitaire Board Game Channel does Soldiers and Postmen Uniforms, an unboxing, and continues to play Scream, Aim, Fire! It's a playthrough, scenario number 1. And he does a playthrough of, wow, I've never seen this game, 278th Squadron, the same 4 cats. And we saw it last week, USS Lafay, the ship that would not die, a playthrough. And for all you Italian lovers, Riccardo Mazzini, the professor, was on with Scipio News, number 3 on Scipio.net. Counterattack plays the huge game and expansions of World at War 85, Scenario 19, The Rhine, Turn 4. And Combat Board Games gives you his initial request impressions of Nemo's War from Victory Point Games. Patrick's Tactics and Tutorials, he continues with Hood Strikes North, Scenario 9 of the campaign game, and also Command and Colors Ancients. Yeah, 221, Tudor Bruges, ... Well, from what I saw here, Bruges, not Bruges, Tuto Bergen. I'm sorry. Illuminating rounds, I should say. Rounds 53, the meat grinder. This is all ASL scenarios, right? You want ASL stuff? These are the guys, because that's all they do. And the Grognard of the Year of 2020, voted by you from, or I should say on, No Enemies Here. What you're watching right now for $1.25. Can I be a bit more subtle? Come on, please, be a patron. That's right, it's Ambush Alley. That's what he's doing. That's what Jim Ozarski is doing. And return to Ambush Alley with Contracting Trouble. Contracting Trouble, yeah. I guess he's got a contract trouble. And 5 days ago, Project Quatre Bras number 8, Bloody Big Battles. And on Dave's Gaming Cave, RAF Battle of Britain 1940, The Hardest Days. Day 1, this is a game designed by John Butterfield. It is a solo game, also a 2-player game. Also, you can play the German side or the British side. Is that something? You gotta love Johnny Butterfield, I'm telling you. And he continues Fleet Commander Nimitz's third edition, I should say, Turn 6. Dr. Cody of the Discriminating Gamer on the Discriminating Gamer. Coalition, the Napoleonic Wars, 1805 to 1815, a game designed by Javier Garcia de Gabiola, scusi, from Compass Games. And it is the time for David Thompson and Michael Coleman, I hope I pronounced his name right, from DVG's new game, Soldiers in Postman Uniforms, Defense of the Polish Post Office in Danzig during the Second World War. This is what JK War Games is presenting, a review of that game. That's the new game that's out, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey guys, Dave here. Welcome to the Centurions review, the punk rock band of wargame review institutions. This week we reviewed Naval Battles from Phalanx Games on our website. It's a Dan Verson game that feels like it was influenced by Avalon Hill Naval War. Naval War was a great game, but its flaw was it allowed your forces to consist of ships from many different nations. In Naval Battles, your ships can only be from one nation, so you won't have Japanese and American ships in the same force. On YouTube, we did Wargame Chat number 3, Mechanics and Mechanisms in Wargames That We Hate. And then we also did a first look at Avalon Hill Circus Maximus. It's a classic game of chariot racing that some people are still playing today, many of whom have made a miniatures game out of it. Thanks for watching and have a good evening.
Another week, another show. Yes, another week, another show. Thank you for watching. Really thank you. Please click the like button and please subscribe. And hey, you know, be a patron. It's $1.25 a week, man. That's $5 a month. You know, and what do you get? You get me, which ain't much, but I give you the news, and Ricardo and Mike from Wojennik TV, and you get, you know, the punk rocker of War Game Institution, something, Dave from the Centurions Review, and a lot of different other stuff, man. And you also get everything you wanted to know about board games but were afraid to ask, and you also get the interviews that I do. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, okay. I'll tell you the story that happened at school. God. It's embarrassing, but what do you want? Okay. So anyways, I teach at I teach and I monitor at a college. No, not college, but it's called a collège in French, and it's a highfalutin college from kindergarten to 12th grade. That's what I'm trying to say, but they call it un collège, right? And, you know, it's a sports college, and it's also heavily academic. So I'm supposed to sub for the teacher for the secondary fives, right? And these are young adults. And they have certain work to do. and they're doing their work, whatever. They're finished their work, so I want to entertain them because I'm bored, right? So let's talk about music, whatever. And they're asking questions about, who are you, right? Because they all want to know, right? And all that crap. So anyways, I tell them, yeah, you know, I worked in mental health for 20 years, and I worked as a correctional officer for, 3 years. But I said I worked for corrections, whatever. And we were talking about music. Anyways, the bell rings, the class gets up and really like boots out of there, whatever. And one girl comes to see me. And you gotta be careful. I mean, in my mind, I gotta be careful because it's full of girls there, all right? And sometimes I'm alone, like in the corridor, passing by with a girl, and like I'm crapping my pants because this girl can just start screaming if she doesn't like my face and like, he did this to me or whatever. I mean, it's her word against mine, and when that happens, it's over, buddy. You're labeled whatever the hell you're gonna be labeled. But you know what? If that would happen, if she would start screaming, I would start screaming too. I swear. That would be my only way out, my only salvation. So anyways, right? Yeah, think about these things. And when you think about these things, you kind of gravitate towards those issues, man. They come to you. It's me. Me. All my friends always said, it's always you, Dan. It's true, it's always me. Anyways, so the class is over. So this girl comes up, obviously taller than I am. Everybody's taller than I am. But like, I care. I could give you one swift... Anyways. So she says, why weren't you a music teacher? And this is in French, because it's a French college. So I said, well, yeah, I was a music teacher. I taught high school for 4 years. I taught music in high school for 4 years. And I said, I also, I taught corrections. And she says, well, I hope so. What do you mean, well, you hope so? She goes, yeah. And she looks down at my crotch and she says, I hope you can get an erection. This is not a word of a lie. I freaked out. I said, what? I said corrections, not erections. Why would I say erections? I'm flipping out. I'm starting to shake, man, because I'm alone with this girl in the class. God, I couldn't believe it. Anyways, she goes, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed, I have a dirty mind. She continues. Hold on, I got a phone call, for God's sake. Hello. Oui? Oh my God, it's one of those calls. Anyways, I'm alone with this girl in the class and she's like, oh my God, I got such a dirty mind. I'm like, can you just stop talking? Just stop talking. Because you can get me in real deep crap here. For God's sakes, is anybody around to hear this? Nobody was around. First thing I did is went right to the dean. I said, look, Dean. That's not his name, but whatever. It would have been funny if his name was Dean. Dean the Dean. Dean, whatever. So I said, look, this just happened. Her name is whatever her name is. And she said she heard erection. And I said corrections. And the dean was trying to hold back, like, from laughing, okay? Because he knew I was flipping out, man. Hey, I'm flipping out. I don't want to be labeled whatever they're going to label you. Anyways, it turns out that this girl is mildly autistic. And it didn't matter. It went well. But I never want to see her again. Have a good weekend.